Good evening, One Zambia, One Nation. Thank you so much for joining us on TV2 News at 18 hours. To present the news, my name is Ellen Hambova. We look at stories making headlines this evening. The Health Professional Council of Zambia has revoked teaching licenses for some medical courses at Cavendish University and Lusaka Apex Medical University. Lusaka Province Police Commissioner Nelson Piri has warned University of Zambia students to stop breaking property belonging to innocent people. And in sports news, soccer analysts in Lusaka are disappointed with Zambia's loss against Zimbabwe in the 2018 COSAFA Cup finals played yesterday in South Africa. Another news in detail. The Health Professional Council of Zambia has revoked teaching licenses for some medical courses at Cavendish University and Lusaka Apex Medical University. Health Professionals Council of Zambia Registrar Aaron Mujachati says the licenses were withdrawn because the two schools did not meet the required standards to teach the courses. Mr. Mujachati says Lusaka Apex Medical University will with immediate effect stopped teaching Bachelors of Science in Pharmacy and Radiography because it does not have qualified teaching staff to lecture students and also lacks laboratories among others. He told journalists at a media briefing in Lusaka today that Cavendish University has been banned from offering Bachelors of Medicine, Surgery and Bachelors of Science in Clinical Sciences because most of their lecturers are part-time, while some did not have teaching practice certificates from the council.
Withdrawn. The Health Professions Council last year did conduct compliance monitoring inspections in these facilities or in these training institutions. And at that time, these major violations were actually found, and the facilities or the training institutions were given an opportunity to address the violations. And they were given adequate time to deal with the violations that were found then.
Meanwhile, Health Professionals Council of Zambia Legal Counsel Frank Lungo says the council will take legal action because the two universities are perpetual offenders. The two universities have been directed to put in place measures that will ensure that the students do not get affected because of the revoked licenses. Lusaka Apex Medical University have 870 students enrolled under the band program, while Cavendish University hosts 660 students. Lusaka Province Police Commissioner Nelson Piri has warned University of Zambia students to stop breaking property belonging to innocent people. Mr. Piri says law will soon catch up with those in a habit of rioting and destroying property. The police commissioner has told TV2 News that he is very disappointed with what transpired at Unza last night as students were agitated by a power blackout that took place and took to the streets to protest. Meanwhile, ZESCO spokesperson Henry Kapata attributed the power blackout to emergency works which were being carried out at Lusaka West substation. The power outage only lasted 9 minutes. Dofesta Longo now gives us details in this report.
Last night, a riot broke out at the highest learning institution, the University of Zambia. This follows the agitation of students after a power blackout that affected most residential areas in Lusaka. The students stormed the greatest roadside and pounced on innocent members of the public. Motorists using Greatest Road from areas such as Munali, County Square, Chainama, Charleston, Avondale and Airport were temporarily disturbed. And Lusaka Province Police Boss has warned the students to desist from taking their frustrations on innocent people. Lusaka Province Commissioner Nelson Piri called on the students to behave themselves and not to break people's property as the law will catch up with them. And ZESCO Limited National spokesperson Henry Kapata says the power blackout was caused by a trip at the Roma substation due to an overload.
happened is that we had some emergency works that were to be carried out at Lusaka West substation. Now you realize that Lusaka West substation caters for several residential areas such as Matero, Chunga and surrounding areas. And so what we did with those emergency works, we had to shut down Matero and several other areas and shift them to Roma substation. And that was about peak time, which is about 1845. So when we moved some of our customers to Roma substation, which caters for University of Zambia and several surrounding areas, there was a bit of tripping because of the moment itself. It was peak time. 1845, that's when there's maximum usage of electricity by our customers.
Delphista Lungu, TV2 News in Lusaka.
Now, the National Road Fund Agency, NRFA, yesterday experienced disruption on the main toll management system at Shimabala Toll Plaza on the Lusaka Kafiwe Road, resulting into high traffic congestion, which lasted for 3 hours. NRFA spokesperson Alphonsius Hamachila has confirmed the development to ZNBC News in Lusaka today. Mr. Hamachila says the agency switched to a standby backup toll payment system and revised services lanes to accommodate traffic. He said the situation only normalized around 19 hours.
All the motorists who are using that route at that time, for the patience and also for the cooperation that they rendered to the toll collectors and the traffic police officers as they were trying to expedite the flow of traffic from both sides. Going ahead, National Road Fund agents would embark on a system of alerting motorists so that already in advance they know the situation in terms of traffic and operational status of each and every inland toll station that we are running across the country.
The Shimabala Toll Plaza has one of the highest traffic volumes, with an average of 140,000 vehicles accessing the toll plaza every month. Now, President Edgar Lungu has assured the people of Western Province that he will see to it that the Cashewnut project succeeds. And the president says the Cashewnut infrastructure development projects being undertaken at Simalumbe in Nalikwanda constituency was actually started by Dr. Kaunda and was abandoned along the way. The head of state cited Mozambique, the third largest cashewnut producer in Africa after Ivory Coast and Tanzania, as having borrowed Zambia's cashew technology. President Lungu was speaking when he commissioned the spraying exercise for the cashew plant at Simalumbe Research Center in Mongo today. And President Lungu says it is unacceptable that a number of road projects in Western Province have taken long to be completed. He cited the Kalabo, Sikongo, Mongoli Mulunga and Lukulu Katunda Road as projects that need to be urgently looked at, saying he will sit down with Minister in charge when he gets back to Lusaka to find a way forward. And Minister of Agriculture Michael Katambo said the $55 million cashew infrastructure development project will benefit 60,000 households in 10 districts of Western Province. Mr. Katambo, in addition, said 60,000 jobs will be created. And representing the Barossa Royal Establishment in Duna, Maimane thanked government for the project. He said the BRE is happy with the good message of love that the president started soon after arrival at Mongo Airport yesterday. Well, you're still watching the TV2 News. Just now we take a break. When we come back, we have more stories. Keep watching. Welcome back. We continue with the news. A 48-year-old man of Lusaka's George compound has allegedly been abandoned by his family members at the University Teaching Hospital, UTH. Jackson Zulu, who was admitted to UTH on May 8, 2018, has since been discharged by the hospital, but no one is willing to take care of him. And UTH Public Relations Officer Natalie Mashkolo has confirmed the development to TV2 News in an interview. Ms. Mashkolo says most of the family members contacted by the hospital are not willing to pick him from the hospital, except the daughter, who also claims that she has inadequate accommodation. Lucky Piri has details in this report.
Discharged and ready to go home, but no relative is willing to take him in. Jackson Zulu, 48, of Lusaka's George compound, has been sick on this bed in the University Teaching Hospital UTH since May 8th. However, after being discharged a few weeks ago, no one is willing to pick him from the hospital. Hospital officials have since availed a list of contacts for relatives to TV2 News who have been giving conflicting answers on the matter. And from the look of things, no one wants to come forth and pick him, including the person who brought him to the hospital. Other people around his bedside are concerned.
His relatives say they cannot afford to take care of him, while others want to take him to the village.
And TV2 News contacted his daughter Loveness Zulu, who claims that she has inadequate accommodation to take him in.
My cousin's father from Kitwe are the ones who brought him, but now they are refusing to come and pick him as they have gone back. We are the only ones in Lusaka and we cannot manage to take him in.
UTH spokesperson Natalie Mashkolo says such cases have become common at the hospital.
In spite of us trying to get in touch with the relatives, we get all sorts of stories, but Jackson has actually been discharged. And so for us as a hospital, we see it as actually a growing problem where patients are being neglected by their relatives. They are there, and that's why we emphasize that when somebody is registering, they must put the relative's name next of kin. But it's easy for us to contact them. But for his plight, actually, we've actually seen a lot of things that are actually going on. People are just refusing, and 9 people altogether, but none of them wants to take care of him, including his own biological daughter.
The hospital now wants to get consent from family members to take Jackson to a hospice. Lucky Piri, TV2 News, Lusaka.
Now, former Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation ZNBC Radio 4 disc jockey Kelvin Chileshe, popularly known as KC, has died. Mrs. Chileshe's body was found at the University Teaching Hospital UTH mortuary today. This follows a search by families after he went missing on May 27, 2018 from his house in Kanyama. His daughter Helen Chileshe and uncle Lakson Siame confirmed this to ZNBC News in Lusaka today. And Mr. Siame says, according to police, Mr. Chileshe's body was picked from a named restaurant along Cairo Road in Lusaka and taken to the mortuary. He says before his death, Mr. Chileshe was seen with some men. And Ms. Chileshe says the funeral gathering is at plot number 215 in Lusaka West along Mombwa Road. And ZNBC management is saddened at the death of Mr. Chileshe, who was a renowned DJ on Radio 4 for many years. ZNBC Corporate Affairs Manager Yvette Chanda says Mr. Chileshe opened doors to many disc jockeys of today. Mrs. Chanda told ZNBC News in a statement that ZNBC wishes the family God's comfort during this trying moment. Mr. Chileshe, 49, is survived by 4 children and a grandchild. A resident of Lusaka's Chawama compound, Tamara Banda, says life has not been easy for her because her child suffers from cerebral palsy. Ms. Banda has since appealed to anyone to help her with a mobility aid for her daughter, who is now 12 years old. Martha Banda visited Tamara in Chawama and brought us this report.
Adwalira kufika kuchoka 1 year mpaka 12 years. Then watoto wake na yeye visiwa sevenza. Soma kuti titandizirike vija pamwana ile expense ya abana bali disabled wa mavuta.
Life has not been easy for Tamara Banda, a mother of 3 of Lusaka's Chawama compound. This is after her firstborn daughter Taonga Banda, who is now 12 years old, was diagnosed with cerebral palsy 6 months after she was born. Since then, her main concentration has been on her disabled child as she is unable to do any form of work. Mrs. Banda has been moving from one organization to the other in search of a wheelchair, but luck seems not to be on her side. She has since appealed to well-wishers to assist her in any way possible.
Nizofuna tandizo paru mwana makamaka wheelchair oluvuntandiza ku vintu vinanga kuti ningamutandizire because nkangwa kusebenza kamba kuti umwana kulibeba kuti ningasire nabatalembesako ku person with disabilities mazina si anachoke ninaisa ku social welfare na kweve kali 6 mazina si achoka konzi.
Aline Sulu is Tamara's mother and she says life has not been easy, especially that the family cannot afford a decent meal.
Batandizire ko chabe magamba kuli finance so kuti chizinkala ko nandilama ti pasa ko mwana visa kadwala tamutaka kumpeleka ku hospital kaya mangala madezi ambiri sangala pa nyumba timankala ku hospital pena 1 month ku hospital. Ora pana ku hospital mukudya ko chavije va mu hospital manje monga uyu kuli pamene ngati ndatima mpasa college na miuki sawa pinati ndiye pamene amaji mwaona manje kuti vipeze kulibe so tifuna chabetandizo mwandini olo ya pakako na ya pakako olo finance so ya pakako ukukwinangu mutitandizirako kwinangu tichitakuvinangu manje pano tilibe na bakuchinga yambire talibe.
Meanwhile, both Tamara and her husband, Evans Banda, are unemployed and depend on Tamara's mother for shelter. And their only wish is that well-wishers come to their aid. Martha Banda, TV2 News, Lusaka.
Some residents of Lusaka's Mtendere compound are concerned with the indiscriminate disposal of garbage near water tanks that are meant to supply water to the community. The residents have told TV2 News that garbage put them at risk of contracting waterborne diseases such as cholera and typhoid. Meanwhile, Seventh-day Adventist Mtendere elder Dandala Hakalema has encouraged members of the community to work together to ensure the environment is kept clean. David Likando has details in this report.
It is a worrying sight in Lusaka's Mtendere township. This is an area that is meant to supply the people of Mtendere with water. Unfortunately, it has been turned into a dumping site by some unknown residents. However, some residents have expressed their displeasure at these acts.
Mainzi mwamena umu mainzi titapa vinzi vigwera motendo kumwa futi kwarera futi ngasire
ashtaova pa aliyensa sikatse komboni atatse mabini apa anomantano bwanji bati masoja penze ko mweje kilini muno.
Recently, members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Mtendere conducted a cleanup exercise following the launch of the Keep Zambia Clean, Green and Healthy campaign. And area SDHH elder Dandala Hagalima has urged members of the community to dump garbage in designated areas.
This was brought from the community around, not knowing that really even the disposal, the way of disposing items here, the garbage, there's a designated place. But people think that when they don't do what they are supposed to do, someone else will do for them. Because community is you and I, and all of us are involved in this.
It is hoped that the people in this area will work together to ensure that the environment and surroundings are kept clean. David Likando Jr., TV2 News, Lusaka.
Well, just now we take a break and we come back. We have foreign and sports news. Keep watching. Now, Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation ZNBC Director General Richard Mwanza says marriage is a source of morally upright nation. Mr. Mwanza said it is through marriages that strong nations are formed. Mr. Mwanza was speaking last night during the wedding ceremony of ZNBC's Justin Piri from Kitwe Studios and Josephine Chiwona. Details in this report.
Justin Piri from ZNBC Kitwe Studios. Mr. Piri tied the knot with Josephine Chiwona in holy matrimony. The event was characterized with various kinds of entertainment from both families and friends. ZNBC Director General Richard Mwanza was the guest of honor and delivered his message to families in the country.
Today, promises have become permanent and friends have become family. And that's the way it's supposed to be. This permanence is God's way of doing things. However, this day is not about the spoken words or the exchange of rings, nor is it about grand pronouncements. This day is the fulfillment of what God did some time back in the Bible.
Mr. Manza also called on the newly couple to put God first and consult elders whenever they face challenges.
It is one thing to marry, but another thing to keep a marriage. In a world where divorce rates are soaring, such moments should be celebrated and cherished as they give hope to the future generation and indeed Zambia.
And representatives from two families advised the couple to trust each other and put God first in their marriage.
With Justin and with Josephine, I'm sure we are witnessing that these friends have been very strong in their Christian faith. I want to thank you, Justin. I want to thank you, Josephine, for the wonderful time you have taken in your lives to be very close to God.
According to Genesis chapter 2 verse 18, we go to 21 to 25. There the Bible tells us about how Jehovah God married the first couple in the Garden of Eden, that is Adam and Eve. Therefore, what we are here today for is coming from above, from Jehovah God.
As the Bible says, whoever finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Cindy Mulamba, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
In foreign news, U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un have arrived in Singapore for their historic summit. Mr. Trump flew in aboard Air Force One a few hours after Mr. Kim touched down with his entourage. Their meeting, the first between a leader from North and a sitting U.S. president, will take place on Tuesday on the resort island of Sentosa. Mr. Trump has described it as a one-time shot at peace and said the two were in unknown territory. The U.S. hopes the summit will kickstart process that will eventually see Mr. Kim give up nuclear weapons. The two leaders have had extraordinary ups and down relationship over the past 18 months, trading insults and threatening war before abruptly moving towards a face-to-face meeting. In sports news, soccer analysts in Lusaka are disappointed with Zambia's loss against Zimbabwe in the 2018 COSAFA Cup finals played yesterday in South Africa. Kalapa Mambo says the quality of players which Zambia used were not as good as those which Zimbabwe had. Mambo has told TV2 News that Zambia's concentration levels in the game were so low to overcome Zimbabwe. And Ruben Kamanga says the team lost it towards the end of the game by failing to defend the game. Meanwhile, soccer fans in Lusaka have expressed mixed feelings over Zambia and Zimbabwe game. Details in this report.
It was a match many fans foresaw Zambia winning. However, the Chipolopolo failed to break Zimbabwe's record of winning most of the COSAFA Cup titles. And Zimbabwe's Saturday's win against Zambia has become the 6th time the Warriors of Zimbabwe have won the trophy. Soccer analysts are disappointed with the results. Kalapa Mambo says the Warriors had better players compared to those of the Chipolopolo.
Even the quality that we had in terms of the players that we had on the pitch compared to the Zimbabweans, the Zimbabwean players that they had, I think Zimbabwe had much better players in terms of tactical and technical ability, as well as just the experience that Zimbabwe had.
For Ruben Kamanga, the substitute costed Zambia in the game.
Our substitutions that we made in the end were actually all offensive substitutions. We should have actually packed, killed the game. We should have introduced a few more delaying tactics to try and kill the game.
And soccer fans in Lusaka have reacted differently over Zambia's loss against Zimbabwe. Some have told TV2 Sports that the Chipolopolo were too relaxed after scoring the first 2 goals.
The guys wanaona kwati bawinira to bora mlandu wa 2 goals 2-1 wija so banamborekerera manje kuti tawina udala
so tafiawe mefintira tatwasekere mu bonse fo na Zambia mara to alino kusinda ka cup kan so tafiawe me na mulira style it.
Others feel Zambia did well despite not winning the trophy.
Game was okay and we actually enjoyed, but we were very disappointed. Like we actually lost the game, but otherwise they did their best, and we're actually proud of the.
I'm sure, hopefully next time they'll do far much better than what they did.
However, various sports pages on social media platforms were not spared as soccer fans expressed their views in regard to Zambia's loss. The Warriors of Zimbabwe beat the Chipolopolo 4-2 in the 2018 COSAFA Cup final game played at South Africa's Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane. Lucky Piri for TV2 Sports News in Lusaka.
Well, to end the news, look at the headlines once again. The Health Professional Council of Zambia has revoked teaching licenses for some medical courses at Cavendish University and Lusaka Apex Medical University. Health Professional Council of Zambia Registrar Dr. Aaron Mujajati says the licenses were withdrawn because the two schools did not meet the required standards to teach the courses. Lusaka Province Police Commissioner Nelson Piri has warned University of Zambia students to stop breaking property belonging to innocent people. Mr. Piri says the law will soon catch up with those in a habit of rioting and destroying property. In sports news, soccer analysts in Lusaka are disappointed with Zambia's loss against Zimbabwe in the 2018 COSAFA Cup finals played yesterday in South Africa. Kalampa Mambo says the quality of players which Zambia used were not as good as those which Zimbabwe had. Well, there we end the news. Do join us for another detailed bulletin at 20 hours. Thank you so much for watching. Good evening.